Spaghetti. Can you hear me now? Woohoo! All right. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the drill room. As always, I am the bearded beast, Rob Johnson. As you can see, we've been upgrading a few things. A little better camera out front here, a little bit of better audio. Still the same hiccups. We're working on things, but as we go, things are going to get better. As you can see, you're joining me from my bowling office. I'm going to be trying to put up some of my memorabilia and some of the things I've collected from my pro shop and from my travels, and it'll be adorning the walls here. At some point, we'll take you for a tour. Want to thank you for joining me here. Tonight's just a hangout. We're going to be talking bowling. Anything that you guys want to talk about, I want to talk about. We're going to hit on the new releases that were announced today from Storm. We're going to hint at some new releases coming down the line. And we're going to basically going to take whatever questions that you want to, and we're just going to talk bowling. As I said, we've got some new equipment, some new things going on. We've added a camera out in the shop for our press. So shortly, we're going to be able to do some drilling out there. For those of you who've asked about how to do drilling, how to do certain things, we're actually going to do some straight online courses where people can join us as we learn to do everything in the shop that you've ever wanted to know. We've also added a green screen room that's just over this way. It's going to allow us to do a little bit of virtual coaching and we'll be able to point some stuff out. And if you were with us on the last show, you saw that we had Scoops from his home base. We're still working on some of the kinks on that, but we will be able to have live guests. So we're going to have some interviews and some fun stuff like that to add to the show here. I don't know why I'm still wearing these. I don't really need these. So let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hey, Dead Polymers, not Mr. Tibbs, Steve, Sarah, everybody, thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting me know that once again our microphone was acting up. But we got to it faster this time. It only took us like 30 seconds and not 30 minutes. So that's a huge improvement. If you have any questions that you want to ask, just throw them into the chat onto the side. I will read them out as best as I can and answer whatever I can. And so let's see. Let's go to the interwebs. Boop. Kind of better looking than I am. Just put that over my face. Like, you could look at this, or you could look at this. So as you can see, we've got... It was only a matter of time before they brought out a new IQ with the AI core in it. That's pretty much, I think that's becoming the standard in for all of their equipment. So they're taking some of the old pieces, like the Ruby that was discontinued about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and have instantly replaced it with basically the same thing, just upgraded core technology. The one that everyone is kind of talking about, however, is the new Hyperdrive, the RST Hyperdrive. So this is a big new one from Roto. If you go online and you're watching some of the other YouTube content like Brad and Kyle, you know that they've already reviewed this one. I think that Darren Tang has reviewed it as well. So like they're right on top of this one. This is their big release. As you can see here, it is a 252-055-017. So this is your big, strong, more continuous ASIM. And if you look here, solid. So yeah, this is going to be a strong ball. Yeah, it's really funny. We've talked about this a lot, but we really have abandoned the old days of solids and different covers to make pearls and different mixes for covers and stuff. We have 4 color solids and 4 color pearls and 3 color solids, and it's so interesting how far the industry has changed over the last even decade as to how they market equipment, what it looks like. Um, we're really in a golden age here for bowling. So look, here we've got the RST Advanced AI Core in this thing here. I'm sure we're going to be hearing lots more about this as they've only announced it in the last few days. This and the, what's the other one they just did? The Rockstar, that's right. Since the last time we all got together, we didn't have a chance to talk about that one either. So we might as well load it up. We talked about the Equinox last time. And the level, which, I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of big stuff about the level yet. I've heard lots of people throwing it, but I haven't seen a huge amount. I don't even see the Rockstar on here. I'm just on the Storm side, aren't I? I hate when that happens. Storm balls, brands, Rotogrip. Rockstar. Rockstar. Thank you. Ooh, look at that funky core. 248050 with the AI outer cover. That is a crazy looking core. That's like a sphere, but they've also got two transecting blocks and then the weight block on the bottom. That's crazy looking. Neat. So yeah, Storm's got three new balls out right now. Storm / Rotogrip. Plus the Equinox that we covered on the last episode. They've definitely put out some interesting new stuff lately. And when we see one company putting out stuff, that generally means that we are going to see other companies putting stuff out. And I know today we start to see some flashes, some black and white photos from some of the brands of Seven, which means we're going to see some new balls coming out from them soon too, which means more reviews from us. We're still waiting for our next batch of releases from Swag, but everyone seemed to like those videos. If you haven't had a chance to watch those videos, don't forget to go back and look in our reviews and check out the Unreal, the Judge, and probably their Sleeper hit, the Crazy. If you have a chance to watch that, I know that both Wayne and Scoops were really into that ball. Let's see here. Not Mr. Tibbs. Any reason to have the Rockstar and the Phase 2 in the same arsenal? Seems to be a lot of overlap. They do seem to be fairly close. If we go back here to the interwebs, 248050. And let's just pop over here to Storm. And grab us a Phase 2. So now let's just take a look at these core shapes just for a second here. This core shape that we've got here with the Phase 2, much larger core body. Even though the differential and the RG are similar, that core shape is much different. So when you go back to the Rockstar here, and you look at those core shapes, those are much different core shapes. So they're going to create a little bit of different way they're going to spin up after drilling. And then if we look at the cover stocks, the Nanostar Reactive on the Rockstar versus the TX16 Solid. I know the TX16 has been probably one of Storm's, well, their best sellers. The Phase 2 has been one of their best sellers. But it is a very slow, very, I don't want to say too, because people don't understand slow sometimes. It's not a fast response ball. It's not going to get down lane and turn left on you. And from what we've seen from the Rockstar so far, it's more of a stronger motion down lane than the Phase 2. It's I think they're separated in what they're supposed to do. But then again, every Storm staffer that I've talked to has said that this thing is like the second coming of the Phase 2 for Storm guys. It's a very controllable ball. So it may be overkill. I don't know. We're also looking at that issue with the PBA where balls produced over a certain age can't be played anymore. And if they're not producing more Phase 2s, they may have to replace it with something for their pro players to be able to play on tour. So, I mean, we've seen that with the Black Widow Ghost being replaced by the Black Widow Mania. Just so happens that the Mania also has the upgraded cover stock, which we're kind of seeing the same thing with the Rockstar. So maybe if your Phase 2 is a little bit older, maybe it's a good time to look at replacing it. But if your Phase 2 isn't that old, if it's less than 2 years old, or if you're not playing on the PBA, maybe wait on it. Maybe wait until it does need to be replaced. Maybe wait until you've got a couple of hundred games on it, or if resurfacing it and oil extracting isn't making a difference anymore. And then you can look at replacing it there. Revs on the left. Love the channel. Thank you very much. Thinking about a Black Dragon. Yeah, that ball is... we've heard a lot from Swag, from the Swag guys about that ball. I'm just loading it up here so that we can take a look. Where'd you go? Superior performance. Boop. There we go. The Swag Black Dragon. For people who haven't seen it before, this is part of the new 6 that came out from Swag with their new American takeover. Look at that core. That large mushroom shape, and then underneath it here they put a really dense puck underneath there. I know Scoops and I had pondered about that, saying that often when we've seen those large pucks underneath, it creates some really good continuation through the pins. And for a ball that's asymmetric, 248, 054, 018, that's in that Black Widow 3.0 kind of range as a solid. So having that big puck on the bottom may help this ball have a little bit more continuation compared to Swag's other balls that we've seen go up against, like the Black Widows. Its cover on it is certainly, everyone has talked about how strong the cover on this ball is. Like, just sucks up oil like a ShamWow thrown into a lake. Like, this thing is really, really strong cover stock wise. So what else is going on out there, guys? As I said, this is just a hangout. We're going to talk about whatever you would like to talk about tonight. Maybe I'll bring this camera down a little bit so I'm not just so weirdly centered. Let's see if we can maybe... I mean, nobody really wants to see that much of me, right? Let's give that a try. Oh, hey, there we go. And shout out to the Mrs. Bearded Beast here for the sweet shirt. The Eat, Sleep, Bowl, Repeat shirt that I've got on here. Awesome little pickup that she got for me. I always into a little bit of bowling wear here, and when it makes the Bearded Beast almost look like he's got some muscle, I'm down for it too. So hopefully everyone's having a good night out there with their bowling. As we said, there are some new releases coming. We talked about the ones from Storm and Rotogrip, and I talk about, now that they've put up some spoiler photos for the brands of Brunswick ones, maybe I have thrown some new balls that we're sitting on some videos for. I'm very excited, guys. I think, first of all, I'm not going to spoil anything. Can't do that, guys. But I'm very excited what we're seeing from the industry in general. I think that HK22 forced the industry to start moving again. I think we'd seen a lot of the same stuff from all the same companies. Everyone was kind of just waiting for the next big technological release. And I think all of the companies have now been kind of pushed to, pick their game up. And the stuff that we're seeing come out right now, some really good stuff coming out. Thoughts on the stealth mode and the Piranha Pearl? Which would you put in your bag? Ooh, different balls. The stealth mode is much more benchmarky. So it would depend on what I'm bowling on. Most of the time, I tend to throw either a short pin or urethane on fresh patterns, unless I'm on something a lot longer. In which case, a stealth mode I would definitely take a look at that. The Piranha Pearl, though, when we tested that, we wanted to see it with some shine on it, and when we got some polish on it, it became a lot longer and a lot more angular. It reminded us of throwing it back in the 90s when you could kind of throw the ball at the gutter and it would bounce. Kind of, it's an interesting noise, right? You ever hear a bowling ball go that didn't come back with breaks and stuff on it? For myself personally, I would probably have more use of the Piranha Pearl for a house league. Like if I'm going out, if I want the first ball out of my bag, because I know I don't need something that's going to be smooth and controllable, I'd probably throw that. If I'm going to a tournament, probably the stealth mode would find its way into my bag very quickly. Noises from everywhere. But yes, if we've got, I was just thinking about this. We've got, this must be the time, let me get these words out. This must be the time of year for the World Series of Bowling, because we have seen so many releases announced, because that tends to be when there's a large event like the World Series of Bowling or super regional or stuff. That tends to be when the players get to throw the new stuff. It's seen by the public the most. What's Old Man Wayne's rev rate? Did I say that right? Old Man Wayne. Yeah. His speed is anywhere from 14 to 15 miles an hour, but his rev rate is under 200. It goes anywhere from about 150 to 175. If you look at somebody like Scoops has a significantly higher ball speed. He's in around 17 miles an hour, with a rev rate around 300. Makes him very matched. And then there's the two-handed guy who has no ball speed and all rev rate. That's this stupid head. Where I've worked very hard. I've getting my ball speed up to about 15 and a half. But my rev rate's still 5 to 550, so not anywhere matched. But I'll get there. Old guy Wayne, though, he's the star of the show. I think his game matches up with more players around the world than I think anyone that we've ever had on the show. For those of you who've watched the show from the beginning, we've had a few different people. We had Jimmy, our Mr. 600, who has thrown 300s right-handed and left-handed. Not very many people who could say that. As well as the big hurt Cam Hurtabees. We've had him on when I've been hurt or unable to throw something. We've had so many different bowling styles on, but I think old guy Wayne, I think more people identify with him as just a regular bowler, and which is good because he's the one who taught us when we were young. I don't think Scoops will want to admit this, but we've been bowling a long time, and old guy Wayne has been there with us through every step since the beginning. Back when all of this hair was up here for me. So we were talking about, sorry, I got distracted there. My apologies. Let's go to the PBA website and find out when the World Series of Bowling is, because I think it is like next week. Where is it here? PBA at the Mike Albee kicks off, and then that's this week. And then yeah, I think it is next week is the World Series of Bowling. Let's see here. Do-do-do. So I know a lot of you have asked in the past, and we are working on, with our new technology, with all the things that we've added here. We are working on getting Old Guy Wayne on here to do an interview. I know lots of you have asked for it before, and we are working on it. Knock on wood, if I can get this to work, we'll be able to have him come on and join us hopefully in the next couple of episodes. So let's see here. Event dates. World Series, April 2nd. Okay, so we're still about a month away. So I guess they're getting everything out there for new releases. They're getting it all out there before the people get over here. Because you can see right here. Oh, that's last year's. Why am I... Let's go back here. Let's find the 2025. There we go. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, it's next week. Yeah, the World Series is next. Oh yeah, that's next week, and we have a roster list. So let's see. Who are you? Who are you cheering for out there? I know there's going to be lots of people out there cheering for EJ. Who else we got in here? Graham Fograms had a great season this season. Timmy Tan, who just made his first broadcast a couple of weeks ago. Matt Ogles had a great season. Bill O'Neill, new PBA Hall of Famer. The Canadian Mitch Hoope. Kim Bowlby, let's see. Yep, right there from Sweden. Hey! Hopefully, Kim, your trip goes well. That is a long trip. Oh, what do we got here? I'm kind of curious if there will be any tariffs on bowling balls. It's expensive as it is in the... Oh, yeah. That is a great question. It'll be interesting to see where they're shipped from as well. Fantastic question. We can get back to the World Series. Yeah, because some companies produce them from outside of the U.S. So I'm assuming... Well, maybe they'll start trying to ship them direct from like a Mexico to the EU rather than sending them through the US. I think that's the only way you'd be able to get through the tariffs. I know here in Canada, we don't really have that choice, even though we're literally, I'm sometime, the border's 4 hours from Brunswick's headquarters, and we're going to get tariffed like everybody else. So it's an interesting thing. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with bowling supplies around the world, because a lot of them, storms are made specifically in the U.S., but a lot of the other companies make them outside of the U.S. So that's a great question. Since it feels like this is like a one-on-one tech talk, how can fix my timing? I feel like I'm a second or two early. Okay. Send me a link, Revs. Let's send a link and we'll take a look at some video if you've got a video of yourself there. And because I am not... I'm going to head back to the World Series while I wait for a link. So who else do we got in here? I'm sorry this is disjointed. I don't often do one without a plan, but I just wanted to hang out with you guys tonight and just kind of... We haven't talked for a while, and I just wanted a chance to relax and talk some bowling. Sean Rash, new PBA Hall of Famer. What did everyone think? Did you guys see that video with Tom Doherty? I'm not sure who hasn't seen it at this point, about him bowling Sean Rash and the not so kind words Tom had for Sean. What do you guys think about that? That kind of gamesmanship, that kind of rivalry in bowling. Is that something that you think the sport needs more of? Or do you think that that's kind of out of place and we should be looking at more gentlemanly like it was in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, say? Let me know in the comments. while I'm going back to the interwebs here. Who else do we got coming in through here? We got a lot of actually international players coming in. Look at this. Ireland. We got Chris Sloan from Ireland. Shota's coming from Japan. Got Jairus from Singapore. Tim Cage is coming from Hercules, California, and that's not a far away, but just Hercules, California. That is a phenomenal name for some place. Hercules, California. Sorry. We've got Tobias coming in from Germany. Fair amount of players from Singapore, actually. We got Matthias coming in from Quebec. Go, Matthias. Actually, we've had a few Canadians in here. I think I've skipped some. I am a national coach for Team Canada. I should be supporting my athletes here. So let's run through some here. Well, we said Graham Faw. There's Zach Wilkins. There's where's it? Mitch Hoope. Who else we got coming in from Canada here? We had Matthias. We got Nathan. It's great to see Nathan back on. I'll throw this back up here. It's great to see Nathan bowling again. I'll point out his name right. He went through an injury. He's been through actually a lot over the last couple of years. It is great to see him back out bowling at as close to full strength as possible. Great bowler, just a great athlete. Awesome to see him back out there. Where are the rest of my Canadians? There's Matthias. Okay, let's talk about Theodore here for a second. We'll get back to Canadians. Theodore. So we all know that I wrote a book. I've done a little bit of shameless self-promotion about that. Go figure. I learned from DDP. And his pro shop operator contacted me from overseas to get some help with some equipment. And I've been giving some help here and there. And I got to hand it to him. Between Theodore and his team, his coaches and his pro shop team, they are lighting it up overseas. I know he just won a gold medal. He is somebody that we need to watch. I don't know if he's going to make a show or not this year, but as an athlete, I think he finished second to Jesper Svensson at an event late last year, earlier this year. He is bowling like lights out right now. Link not posting in the chat. You know what? Email it to us at lanesidereviews@live.com. We might get it to this show. We might get it to the next episode. Because I want to actually we're going to, hold on a second. Let's finish up a thought with Theodore here. He is tremendous two-handed talent. Tremendous. And I really think he's somebody to watch this year. For this World Series, I think we're going to see a lot of talent that we don't normally get to see on the PBA, and he's one of those talents I think is to watch. Even if he doesn't make a show, just to get to watch his style, watch how smooth he is, how much power he generates. He's like, they used to call it a right-handed lefty. Like he looks like the mirror image of a lot of the really successful, really powerful right-handed two-handers we've seen. And he's doing it from the left side, which means in theory, he's going to have it to himself, which makes him super dangerous. So that, for me, that's somebody to watch. Going back to Revs on the left here, email it to me, lanesidereviews@live.com. We are going to be switching up some of, hey, check MP, some of the stuff that we are going to be doing here with the shows. Trying to work with the algorithm, trying to hopefully get ourselves back up there. At one time, we were the #1 show in the world, our channel. And unfortunately, because we're old, we've been around for a long time, and we don't produce content 2 or 3 times a week. We've been pushed down farther and farther and farther in the algorithm. The only way to fix that is we're going to have to start making more content. And part of that is working on the coaching side of things. Now, in a previous show, we'd been able to look at somebody's timing well, their shot in general, and make some suggestions. I would like to, going forward in these drill room live shows, be able to look at people's bowling and do some coaching online, see if we can help you out. So, if you would like some help, as I have suggested to Revs on the Left, definitely email me here at lanesidereviews@live.com. Put in the header the drill room coaching help so that I can find it fast and I can figure out what we need to, and we can talk about it on here. We're also going to be doing some more of those coaching videos. I know we did a couple last year on ways to improve your carry and ways to better make 10 pins. And those seem to be monstrously popular with the people out there. So we're going to produce a few more of those. If you'll notice, we've been asking a lot more questions in our community tab, looking for your feedback. And your feedback is going to be specifically what we do these coaching videos on. So we've seen a lot of stuff on push away and swing slot. Now, we covered a little bit of swing slot before. We're going to go back and cover a lot of push away stuff and how your push away affects the rest of your shot. And we're going to dive into things in the Mark Baker way. And we're going to start right from the very end, from the finish position, and start working backwards to help everyone create a more, let's call it more repeatable, not more consistent shot. Something that you're going to be able to score more with and be able to manipulate better so that you too could become better at bowling. Y'all were some of the OGs I started watching in 2014. Yeah, we've been around a long time. To give you an idea, this is going back a few years. Back in, I think it was 1995, there used to be a program called the Seed Program that Brunswick had, where they would send out a ball or two a year to reviewers or influential people before there was really influencers, so that they could throw them in leagues, throw them in tournaments, and just generally go around and talk to people about new releases. So because there wasn't the internet as we know it now, there wasn't review shows, there wasn't any of this stuff. So all the way back in 1995, I contacted them and got a phone call from this, let's call him little known PBA star, Billy Orlikowski, who is now basically in charge of all of this stuff for Brunswick. He takes care of like all the brands. He is the head. I mean, he's not the president of the company, but he pretty much runs the show. Back then, he was just working at Brunswick, and he was nice enough to add me to the Seed program because I wasn't old enough. I had to wait till I was 18 to apply to it because I had to be 18 or I had to have parental permission to do it. And I didn't even think he'd do it because I was in Canada, but he was all about it. He was like, "Yeah, this is a great idea." And so back in 1995, we started doing reviews. I started literally writing up stuff, sending it into magazines wherever I could, sending it into local and international paper magazines. The ones you'd see, I guess they don't have them in bowling centers anymore. You used to be able to walk in the front door and there'd be a bowling magazine there, and it would talk about upcoming tournaments and new release bowling balls and all that kind of stuff. And from there, as we got farther along, as the digital age came, we started producing videos. And we were right there at the beginning of YouTube. Our channel, the Laneside Reviews channel, only started, I started it in 2010, but we were producing videos before that I ended up having to pull over. But yeah, I hate to say it, but this year, this October, will be 30 years. Yeah, that's a lot of gray. 30 years that we've been doing these videos. I can't even imagine that. Just think about 30 years of doing these videos, from paper to actual photos to video to YouTube, Twitter. You know, when Twitter was, or X, when it was first usable. You know, across to Instagram, across to TikTok, to whatever's next. You know, we've been doing this a long time, and we've been really lucky. Um, you know, when we started out, it was just three guys throwing the ball. It just happened that we had three different styles, and we all had the same hand size, and all of our paps were within an eighth of each other. So even though we threw the ball differently, we could all take one ball and review it. And from there, we have, I mean, we've done all these years up to different styles. I mean, Wayne has always kind of been Wayne. We call him our speed dominant player, but he's really rev challenged. He's like a lot of senior players who um, just they just can't make the ball go 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 miles an hour anymore. And the covers are so strong, it's hard for them to have a new ball and keep it on the lane. So that's why one of the reasons I think Wayne is the star of the show, because if Wayne can throw it with the layout that we put on it for him, if he can throw it, then it's good for probably 70% of bowlers out there. And then the other 25% of bowlers, yes, rewind country, absolutely. The other 25% of bowlers, they're pretty much covered by Scoops. They're the matched guys. You know, I hate to say this, but Scoops has been bowling longer than I have. He had probably been bowling 5 or 6 years longer before I ever started. So I mean, he's come a long way from where he started, and he is a fantastic bowler. I don't think people really get a sense of how good a bowler he is. I wish sometimes we could mic him up. Unfortunately, there are people in our league who don't want us to have cameras. They don't want us to shoot video because they're afraid that they're going to be on there. But I would love to have the two of us mic'd up, because when we talk about bowling, like, he is such a great resource. Um, I was once heard a funny statement. It said, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to find another room, because you should always be learning from people around you. And I've been lucky because I've had Scoops around for 30 plus years that we've learned off each other. So it's been really awesome. John B, videos on changing tilt. I've been wanting to get my release to be less spinny. Yeah, absolutely. Changing tilt is probably the hardest thing to do for a bowler, because unlike changing rotation, it generally requires changing the way that you hold the ball, and the way that the ball releases from your hand, not the way that you release it, but the way it releases from your hand. It generally, there's a lot of this motion or a lot of that motion, and it's hard to change because it requires you to do a little bit of practice, and not everybody is willing to do the practice for it. I'm sure that John is, because if I'm going to do a video for him, John obviously wants to learn. um, he's definitely gonna take, watch it and learn from it. But yes, the short answer is yes. Yes, Andy, facts, 100%. Wayne is the star of the show, 100%. I mean, when Wayne was hurt at the end of December, beginning of January, it was tough for us. We waited as long as we possibly could to shoot reviews, just because we wanted to get him on the show. Like, I would rather have him on the show than me on the show, because it's a lot easier for me not to have to bowl, just to sit back here and edit videos and stuff. Let's see here. Comment about full roller layouts. You know what? Yeah. And I'm going to say why. Probably, I'm going to say probably a month ago, I would have said no. Because in my mind, being a pro shop guy, I have not seen a lot of full rollers come through probably in the last 5 years. However, um, full rolling is seeming to make a comeback. Not only have I seen a lot of senior players recently who have who are full rollers. There are a lot of really good players like Francois Lavoie who are full roller players, and that's that voodoo roll that he creates that allows him to really tame the lanes. It's because of his release, and who cares if it's a full roller, right? If it scores, it scores. So yeah, let's add it to the list. Give me a second here. So we need one on changing tilt. Changing tilt. We need one on full roller layouts. Now, for full rollers, there aren't a lot of options for layouts, but there are some tricks that you can do here and there. It's a lot more surface stuff, but we can definitely cover that because I think that's something that gets overlooked. So it's awesome, awesome suggestion. I imported a 2010 Elite Shark from JR Pro Shop in Canada. Neat. How is it? How's the ball? Let us know. Rewind Country. There seems to be a trend starting of lower rev pros using full roller layouts. That's why I saw Frankie. Yeah, see? Frankie. So it's funny. The sport has to change. If you look at it right now, there's a lot of high rev players who are dominating. And if you can't create that high rev, you have to create something that they can't. And using those full roller layouts to control the lanes, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the way that they need to do it on those patterns. Would I suggest everyone throw full roller layouts? Probably not. But what they bowl on, yeah, it probably works really well. They want it to see the mid lane and kind of roll rather than continue to hook. So that way they can control the pocket. They can keep the ball from rolling away, minimize splits. If you need a lefty, I'll move to Canada. Yeah, we've had a lefty before, and not just Scoops and Trebor or Pooks and Trebor. We've had a lefty on before to throw. We've even had fans on. We had one show. We did a hammer ball. I can't remember which one it was, where we had a fan come on bowl. Man, did people not like that. Holy moly. They're like, why do you have somebody who's not a professional on there? Why do you have somebody who's just a league bowler on there? Why not? We're all league bowlers, right? We all start someplace. People get too worked up. Pin down layouts don't work. Full roller layouts. Yeah. I bowl with a gentleman who is I'm going to say one-handed no thumb. He's kind of halfway between a one-hander and a two-hander. Like a one-handed no thumb and a two-hander. But I bowl with a gentleman who all of his equipment is drilled full roller, so that way he can control his roll down lane. I'm not gonna lie, when I first went to two-handed, I drilled something that would be more considered of a full roller layout, to try to get the ball to get to the pins while I was still learning. It's really specialized, though. It's going to be really specific for the conditions you're on. Like I said, I don't see a lot of people in leagues throwing full roller layouts, but we'll definitely take a look at it. Maybe we'll even drill a full roll layout up and see what it does with our regular bowlers. See what happens when somebody like Wayne or Scoops or myself throws a full roller layout and see how the shape goes. Speaking of that, there was a crazy video See if I can find it here. There was a crazy layout video that I saw that I actually sent it to a friend of mine who works at one of the major ball manufacturers. And I literally sent a popcorn emoji to this person saying, "Okay, I'm waiting for your take on this," because it was interesting. It's called the motion control layout. And I think that's one we're going to be doing a video on as well, because it was interesting. There's all sorts of interesting layouts out there, and some of them are very condition specific. I'm never going to tell anyone that their layout system is bad or good or whatever, because I have my own layout system. And don't forget, you can get that layout system as part of my book, A Modern Guide to Arsenal Construction for Two-Handed Bowlers. Fit and Arsenal Construction for Two-Handed Bowlers. It's available now on Amazon. Ooh, 4 bowling streams on Twitch. Yeah. I'm surprised there isn't more bowling on. It is available now. I do say so. I'm surprised that there is not more bowling on Twitch. I think Twitch is one of those platforms that lends itself very well to the bowling sport format. Because anybody can watch it, anybody can comment on it, but you have to log in to interact with it. It has powerful servers already designed to broadcast pretty much anywhere in the world. I don't know why more tournament organizers don't take advantage of Twitch to stream events. You could do full leagues. You could do imagine watching qualifying for your local PBA event on Twitch. Doesn't have to have somebody there commentating on it, but it would be nice. But just being able to watch it, just setting up a camera and watching, that'd be amazing. And they get paid for it. It's one of my things that bothers me. I think Bowl TV is a great idea, but I think it's a little cost prohibitive to a lot of people. And I think it detracts from our sport. Twitch, you say, I barely know YouTube. Twitch is like YouTube, but yeah, no, they're not really anything alike. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's taken so long for the PBA to get on board with YouTube, putting out their broadcasts on that. You see so many other companies putting stuff out there and getting paid for it. In a time when they're having a hard time getting a TV contract, they should be all over digital formats that are connecting with the next generation of audience. Things like YouTube, Twitch. You could do live streams on TikTok if TikTok's available in your country at that time. Darius finally caught you live. Love y'all's videos. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in tonight. If you have any questions, we're just hanging out. Just, talking out my hat about whatever. And we're just having a good time talking bowling. Hopefully, this is going to become a weekly occurrence again. We're just going to be hanging out here talking about new releases, talking about the tour, news, coaching, all the things. So if you're happy with this, don't forget to... That was funny. I'm glad that was on camera. If you enjoy everything, don't forget, please, to like, share, and subscribe, and join us every week. Just give me 1 second here. While I'm taking care of some technical difficulties, here's this. Hey everybody, Rob Johnson here, and I just wanted to take a second to thank everyone who's already picked up a copy of my book, A Modern Guide. Me who've read the book with their training plans, their successes, and even their honor scores. And I've been blown away with the quality of conversation I've been having with pro shops and even PBA players on the science of building a proper arsenal based on RG, differential, intermediate differential, and layouts. Now, if you've already picked up the book, thank you so much, and congratulations on your future success. And if you haven't, why not? The link's in the description below. And now, back to bowling. Whoop whoop, we're back. All my juggalos and juggalettes. Let's see. I don't know, Parker was trying to run away. I don't know what was up with him. Let's see, what else we got down here? It's very easy to multi-stream on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Yeah, 100%. I don't know why they don't use these platforms more. I think it would be easier to reach, especially since they're optimized for mobile. It makes it easier for you to reach your audience. So yeah, definitely. Lol. Canadian earthquake. Yep, poltergeist. It's Canadian though, so it's more of a poltergeist. Scoops and Wayne are. Yep, they're stuck in the walls. I definitely walled them in. A few moments later. One eternity later. I have League tonight, but I just picked up my Outer Limits Solid. Nice choice. I bought it based on your videos. Oh, congratulations. I'm glad we could help. Hopefully, new Magic Ball. Hey, it's that new ball carry. Always that new ball carry. Let us know how it goes. Don't forget, after you've bowled with it, go back to our video. Leave a comment. Let us know how you liked your ball. I almost getting good at leaving pocket 7-9s. Oh, nobody ever wants to be good at leaving pocket 7-9s. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Yeah, especially on the left side. That means you're throwing it really good. I'm sorry. That's not much you can do about that. So we were talking bowling stuff, though. Let's get back to talking bowling stuff. After, the house was falling down. We were talking about streaming. Yeah, definitely, I think that we're missing out. 6 in the last 2 weeks. Oof. Yikes. I'd have your house check that their pins are spotting on. That's terrible. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know why companies aren't taking more advantage. You guys keep distracting me. I think you're doing it on purpose. Keep it up. I think companies are missing out on their opportunity to reach more bowlers. Because you think they keep talking about falling ratings, but all ratings on TV are falling because people are moving to different platforms. They're moving to online to watch their shows. They're not watching them, not necessarily live, they're watching them on demand when they have the time in their day. The model of consuming for TV shows and for movies has changed dramatically over the last decade. And if the PBA doesn't get onto it, you end up with situations like they're scrambling for a TV contract halfway through the season they're trying to get a contract for. But what do I know? So I do have one question. As a coach, do you think we as bowlers don't honestly realize that we muscle the ball too much? Oh, Darius, yes, 100%. I would say, I mean, we make up most statistics, but honestly, more than half of my lessons are trying to get people to stop muscling the ball, whether it's carrying it in their push away and their first couple of steps, or pulling it from the top of their swing, or not letting their swing be free. Bowling is a counterintuitive sport. You would think that when picking up a heavy object and trying to throw it fast at other heavy objects, it would require a lot of muscle activation. But in fact, the best bowlers in the world use the least amount of muscle activation in their arms and use more timing, leverage, and leg strength to get the ball to speed up. In two-handers, it's a little different because they have to use some pectoral and some shoulder and arm strength. But it's still, if you look at the bowlers who have the most ball speed for their shot type, they also have the best timing, the best leverage, um, and generally the least muscle activation until the end of their shot. If you think about say a five-step approach, we'll get to Eugene McEwen. If you look at, because this is where a lot of people get this wrong. If you look at a five-step approach, when we talk about not using muscle, we talk about like in your first step of a five-step approach, you should be using only the amount of energy that it takes to take a step forward, and a very small step forward. As you move the ball, you should only be using enough energy to complete a task of pushing the ball away. When the ball drops, you should be using zero muscle in your upper body. You should not be trying to activate them. They will activate naturally because of what you're doing, but you shouldn't be trying to muscle the ball. Allowing the ball to come through your arm swing fluidly, allowing it to reach its apex, and then starting to apply some kind of muscle to the ball, going into your release, which they call an explosion point for a reason, because you should be using 40 or 50% of your available strength at that point. You can't do that if you've used it all to get the ball there. If you're using 10 or 20% of your strength per step to hold on to the ball, to grip the ball, to pull the ball into your arm swing, you have no strength at the explosion point going forward to create revolutions. If your timing is off and you're pulling the ball to get it into timing so you don't fall over, you've lost that strength at release. If the ball is ahead of you, you don't have any leverage to create that proper release, to create the maximum use of your energy through your swing, to create speed and rev rate. So yes, 100% Darius. People muscle the ball too much, far, far too much. And I think it's something as coaches that we have to remind people of. The less muscle you use, the better in your upper body, at least. Your legs should be firing. Everybody who wants to be a high level bowler, they should be looking at power lifters. Look at the legs on those guys. That's what the kind of legs you want. You want strength from your legs. That's where all of your explosive speed power is going to come from. Let's go, keep going here. Swedish Bowling decided to use an obscure streaming platform called Solid Sport, which nobody's ever heard of, just so they can charge money for each stream. I have been a proponent for probably about the last decade that the only way we are going to grow our sport is we stop trying to charge each other through the nose for information, for access, for all of these things. We have to make it more affordable and more accessible to bowlers. You want to grow the amount of bowlers we have, you got to make it easier for them to learn how to bowl. Hey, Timothy. Not everybody has $100 a month, $50 a month to spend on private lessons or on even private YouTube memberships. But everybody who wants to play baseball can go onto YouTube and have Trevor Bauer teach them how to throw one of the best curveballs in baseball. Can't go online and have Belmo teach you that. There's something missing in our sport. There are ways for us to teach without giving up a way for us to make money as coaches. I'm a coach. I want to get paid for what I've learned and how I apply it to people. But we have to open up how people access the game, how people digest the game, the knowledge of the game, how they, just in general, how they're able to access every part of the game, from coaching to viewing to participating. Otherwise, our sport will die. You know, if somebody can't go online and learn how to become a better bowler, then they're going to find something that they can learn how to be better at and have a faster path to success. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. It's part of the reasons why when I wrote my book, you look at most bowling books, they're really thin. They got, like 10 or 20 pages and somebody wants $10 for them. Or they're like 100 pages and they're like $200 because people want to get their money out of them. We made mine really, really accessible to people because we wanted people to be able to buy it. Same thing is when we share stuff on here. We share a ton of coaching tips during our reviews. And we're going to be sharing more coaching stuff with our videos. And we don't want to ever put that behind a paywall because we want people to learn no matter where they are in the world. I don't care where you are. If you're going to become a better bowler, learn from us. I would describe to Bold TV if there were more content. That's the other thing. For the amount of money that you pay, there's a lot of time where there's not really any content. So one thing that Flow Bowling actually did good is they produced a lot of little snippets and some movies and some things. I had suggested once, I had sat down with some of the PBA powers that be. I had suggested that they do a game show at one point. They do a reality show where they take, say, either six regular people or six of their like Chris Paul celebrity kind of bowlers, and they shoot a mini series of them teaching them how to bowl, and they all have to bowl against each other in a tournament, and the bowler and the coach that won a big thing because they wanted to make some content. You can shoot something like that in 2 weeks. Like in the off season, you can shoot 14 episodes because it's every day. They don't always want to create more content. They just want the money. Kind of like Bull TV, but way worse. Yep. There's more on YouTube. Yep. There is so much information. There is lots of information available on YouTube. YouTube's getting a little difficult to work with, though, because of the algorithm. Unless you're producing content 2 or 3 times a week, you really get pushed down. Really get pushed far down. So it's harder to access more people. But there are many more bowling shows and bowling help that's coming out on YouTube. But as I said, we're not using the other sources that we have, like Twitch, to access and to broadcast stuff to more places in the world. Like Twitch goes everywhere in the world. I'm pretty sure Twitch goes into China, and not all North American things go into China. So there's a huge market over there. Politics also play. Yeah, politics always play into everything. All right, where does Eugene McCune fit into the throwing it hard? First of all, Eugene McCune is an ex-baseball player. Okay, he was a minor league baseball player and a catcher. If you take a look at that guy's legs, I guarantee you that they're about that big around and pure muscle. Dude is built like a tank. If you look at his timing, where his release point is, he also has some of the best timing for somebody with a extreme backswing out on tour. So if you also watch the way he throws the ball, just because your 5% and his 5% don't match up, don't mistake his 5%, because we're talking about how much you use each step. He's got 50% in the tank when he gets to its leverage point. He's got 50% of his available energy to explode going forward through the ball to create speed and rev rate with perfect timing. I don't think we've seen many people who are, I want to say, athletically gifted in bowling like we're seeing now. Guys like McCune, guys like Marshall Kent. That guy is a freak, like a genetic freak of nature. Not many people know that guy can bench press like 500 pounds. Not exaggerating. He's a gym rat. He is ridiculously strong. And that's what we're seeing out of a lot of our athletes now, too. While we're seeing guys who can throw it harder, um, guys who, like, we're seeing our two-handers who throw it harder, our one-handers. EJ may not be a big guy, but there is nobody who has better timing than EJ Tackett on tour, because he can create all that speed and power with that small a frame. Imagine someone who can do it who is athletically gifted. That's Eugene McEwen. Excuse me. Let's see here. Should there be signing bonuses or for going pro? Interesting question. Should there be signing bonuses for going pro? I think, as it stands now, there are lots of good bowlers out there. If you want to think about bowling, I want you to think about a big chunk, 100% chunk. Okay? Professional bowlers make up about 1% of that chunk. They are the best of the best. Of that 1%, 100% of that 1%, 10% of those bowlers are the Jason Belmontes, the Sean Rashes, the Anthony Simonsons, the Jason Sterners, the Graham Foss. They are the top pros. Those guys already get signing bonuses. Those guys do make more money for signing with companies. The fact of the matter is, outside of those guys, there are tons of professional bowlers, tons of people who are able to go pro, more than would be cost affordable for companies to give everybody signing bonuses. Now, if you get somebody like a Ryan Barnes who shows up and has 5 companies and says, "Hey, I want a contract," he's getting something. The majority of people probably not. It doesn't take that much to go pro. You need a 200 average at this point for one league season. It's not like it used to be. You used to have 2 years of 210 or higher. I think it was 3 years at one point too. Like, it used to be very difficult to go pro, and the field was much smaller. We do have a lot more good athletes now. We have a lot easier conditions now. There's a lot of houses that are, people who have no business averaging 220. They're really 160 average bowlers. There are lots of factors that play into it. I don't think you could do it that way. The guys who are at the top who are signing, though, the pro contracts, don't kid yourself. They're making good money. Unfortunately, not baseball money. If we could get the kind of contracts that esports gets or regular professional sports gets, bowlers could make more money. But in the current climate, as we're saying, because there isn't as much TV, like, the ratings for PBA bowling are down this season. Also, all the shows have been Saturday afternoons on FS1, so they're not exactly on a main channel. So I always wanted to buy a plastic Jester bowling ball. I'm afraid of it cracking. Yeah, all of those really nice crystal clear bowling balls, like the Jester, like the boxing glove, like the hammer, the spider one, the Belmo ball. The clearer they got, the more brittle they got, and they all seem to crack. I've actually got in the back here. Some of you have seen this one before. This is Clear Wolf. And if you've seen my Pro Shop horror stories, you'll know that this at one time had a gigantic crack in it. Literally, the top sheared off, and I was able to put it back. Oh, you can kind of see it on the side. You see the crack there? I was able to put it back together again for display. All the ones with these really nice clear covers, they just seem to crack, and it's unfortunate. I got my bench up by 5 or 10 pounds. Learning tips. Yeah, absolutely. When I go into the gym, I'm on there listening to Juji Mufu. I'm listening to Brian Shaw. Listening to even Eddie Hall. I mean, he's a bit of a jokester, but sometimes you learn stuff from him. There's some really good stuff out there. Winning Strength. Highly recommend the channel Winning Strength. Matt Wenning is a world record holding powerlifter. Does a lot of stuff with um, conjugate raw lifting, with adaptive training so that your body can't get used to what it's doing so it continues to grow. He's like my guru when it comes to lifting stuff. During the pandemic, when I lost 100 pounds, I was listening to all those guys working on bench press stuff. I was able to add a ton of bench press to mine, ton of squat and deadlift strength, which helped my ball speed when I was throwing one handed. So yeah, there's definitely stuff you can learn on YouTube for just about anything except bowling. Bowling should go mainstream TV. It should, absolutely. I learned how to bowl by experience. I'm up to 170. There comes a point where it's good to get with a coach because then they can help you translate some of the stuff you see online to make more sense physically. It's one of the only blessings of my injury to my arm is that going two-handed has allowed me to experience a lot of stuff that I don't think most coaches know as non-two-handers. It's such a different feeling from one-handed, and the timing, your upper body to your lower body timing is so much different. There's things that athletes feel as a two-handed bowler that you don't experience as a one-handed bowler. And as a coach now that has done both, um, I think it's been like a real blessing for me because I have a better insight for working with people. I think every coach should have to learn how to bowl one-handed and two-handed. Learn a ton of info off of YouTube. Doing the modern release for 16. Nice. The biggest issue now is equipment selection. Let me tell you, we got some videos coming up that you're going to like. One of the things I covered in my book for arsenal building is what each ball does, what your fresh ball should do, what your ball up should be, what kind of balls you should have for the burn. Not everybody kind of understands it the same way. So we're going to do some videos and we're going to actually break down what all your different pieces in your bag are supposed to do. What constitutes a benchmark ball? Oh, I'm shaking the stuff too much. What constitutes a benchmark ball? What constitutes a ball for the burn? What a short pin is for? When should I throw a pearl? When should I throw a hybrid? When do I need symmetrical? When do I need asymmetrical? Like we're going to cover that. So hopefully we can help you with that. Baseball teaches you. Yep. Mookie Betts bowls local tournaments in the off season. Mookie Betts is a freak of nature. If you ever have a chance to meet him, he is a strong dude. He is a pure athlete. To be able to do what he does on the field, and then be able to do what he does on the bowling lanes, very few people can be that talented of an athlete. How much do staffers for Brunswick make? I don't know what the pro staffers make. I'm not one of them, so you'd have to ask them, unfortunately. Rob, as a one-hander, is there things in your book I might like? There is some stuff in there. Everything but the actual layouts themselves is really good information. But you don't have to worry though, because we are in the midst of working on the one-handed book that's going to be all about basically the modern layout, fit, and arsenal construction for one-handed bowlers. We've been a little delayed this year. I'm using some of my industry connections to get some more technical feedback to give you guys even more information. And we're actually going to be looking at doing not only just a one-handed book, but a compilation book with one and two-handed. So that for those of you who haven't gotten both, especially for your pro shops, you'll be able to get one thick book that'll have everything you'll ever need for stuff. Let's see here. Need to get better sponsors on board. All the big corporate sponsors. Yeah. My apologies. Getting a little dry here. Uh, yeah, no, I agree. You think about in the past, Denny's, Lumber Liquidators. We've had Budweiser. There's been lots of big sponsors, but none as of late. And a lot of that is about return on investment. You know, you've got to have the eyes watching you, and you've got to have an affordable plan for them to be able to either buy content from you or buy content from the channel that you are. Oh yeah, Motel 6, good call. Buy from the channel that you're on. Uh, a famous story, Phil tells this, how the Pro Tour used to charge like $2,000 or $3,000 a commercial during the broadcast. So Phil would just go to the local station and buy this for $2,000. He could buy like 10 spots during the tournament at the local where they'd be inserting their own commercials, and he'd spend that money better. Um, so until bowling can come up with a way to properly incentivize these companies, I don't know. I mean, I personally think that we're missing out um, on advertising on jerseys. I think there should be more advertising on the jerseys, like you see in NASCAR, like you see in professional fighting. Um, Justin Wyman does a fantastic job with the digital effects all around the Pro Tour. All those light up boards and graphics that you see in the background, he takes care of all that stuff. The man is a technical genius. But they should be selling advertising spots on that thing during the show. They should have ads going all the time. They should be rolling in the money. Yeah, so you're right. They need to be approaching their advertising a little bit differently. I had a clear wolf 25 years ago. Yeah, the original wolf they kind of went orange. The isocyanates in those kind of discolored the balls a little bit. They kind of got like an orangey brown tinge to them. Once they figured out how to clear that up and get the really clear ones, the balls just got too brittle. How about a clear spare ball with Wayne's head in it? That'd be amazing. Like a shrunken head or something like that. That would be seriously cool. I would be all in for that. Not a real head. Of course, not a real head. My old M. Night skull has a gigantic crater in it. Yep. What pearl ball should I get? I'm going to a demo day in August and I want to beat transition. Speed dominant. Well, it depends. Between now and August, there's a lot of stuff coming out. So I think whatever that we're looking at now may not be in the kit that you would be doing the demo day for at that time. As for balls that are out right now for what you're looking at, I am a big fan when it comes to transition. I've been a big fan of the Black Widow Mania, as well as the new Criterion Hybrid. And for myself personally, a bit of a throwback, but the Deviate Mantra has been in my bag for a while. That's been a ball that's bailed me out a lot. Should I throw 15 pounds? I throw 14 pounds with my bicep. Okay, Timothy, that's a great question. We get that a lot. I'm afraid to go down in weight. I'm afraid to go up in weight. There was a study done a few years ago. And it has been a few years, so it probably needs to be redone. But they figured out that with modern technology, there's very little difference in hitting strength between 14 and 15 pound balls. Very, very little. The biggest difference that you could have, however, is the amount of speed versus accuracy that you have on the ball. If you're throwing a 14-pound ball at 17 miles an hour, going to 15, you may lose speed, which may end up in turn diminishing your carry. It also, if it's too heavy, it might end up decreasing your accuracy and making it harder for you to repeat shots. So if you're throwing 14 and it's comfortable for you, until you need to move up, or until somebody tells you that specifically that you should be throwing 15 pounds, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Dude Wipes is kind of funny. Dude Wipes is an amazing sponsor. Just for the sheer insanity of those Randy Peterson voiceover things he does, the clean wipe, or every time I hear him talk about one of those, like, I just giggle. Oh, excuse me. Looking forward to the book soon. 18 mile an hour forward. Solid game. Posting every shot, but only average 160. Yep. I have been there, Pat. I've been there. Um, once I was told this, and it's pretty accurate. You can't out bowl bad fit, and you can't out bowl bad ball reaction. You should be able to get any ball to the pocket. Doesn't mean it's going to carry. So yeah, I can understand. I hopefully we'll get it done soon, and it'll help you. Thanks for joining us, Revs on the left. For any of you who have to run out, anything that you missed, this is posted directly after on YouTube. And we're not going to go too much longer. You guys have been great. You've been on for an hour and a half already. Holy moly. Like I said, we're going to do this. We're going to try to do this once a week. Tuesday seems to be a good night for it. Let's wrap up some questions here. It's going to be bowling. Oh, the Brunswick Bowling Ball Buffet. That's my favorite. The Mantra is super underrated. 100%. Lower differential with a medium intermediate differential. The ball never rolls forward on me. It's a really, really good, reliable ball. Mantra is really, really good. But I think Deviate, last couple of years, Deviate's been a little underrated. Deviate and Columbia 300. Balls like the Piranha went under the radar a little bit. I use Life After Death ball cleaner and CTD pads. Awesome. They make great pads. I've used their ball cleaner before. Great products. How is the two-handed average? It's the consistency. Up until about, I'd say 4 weeks ago, I was doing 100% two-handed, including my spare shooting, and I've been averaging about 170. It's the problems with being a broken down old hack. I made the conscious decision to grimace and bear a little bit of pain and shoot pretty much the bane of my existence, the 10-pin one-handed. And while it has caused some discomfort in my arm, it's seen me now averaging, literally in the last 3 weeks, up in the 190s, as opposed to the 170s. And a little spoiler for you guys who held on this long, I may or may not have a video of 10 or more strikes in a row coming in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, I think it's coming along. I made some changes recently, and one of the changes I made, I'm going to be doing a video on. Like I said, we're going to be doing some videos for coaching again. It was a big change to my swing, and I think it's made a huge difference. Definitely, like, over the last few weeks, it's made a monster difference to my carries. I'm actually getting messengers for once, and I'm almost throwing the ball as good as I was back when I was throwing the Rattler new, when I shot the almost 300 or 300 or whatever it was. It's been so long, I don't even remember anymore. So yeah, no, it's coming along. I use a wrist brace when I bowl, but I'm still able to create hook. Absolutely. I know some people are dead set against wrist braces. I think if you need them, if they're part of your game, if it's something that you require, then fine. Well, you still have to execute shots. So good. If it helps you bowl, it helps you bowl. I'm all for it. When all else fails, use an LT48. Scoops has a Black Beauty with a switch grip in it that he carries in his locker for the when all fails kind of times. And don't ask me about how stinky that was to drill, because that was awful. Thanks, Chuck MP. I throw 15 to 16 pounds, and I've been throwing that weight since the age of 15. Awesome. If you can throw 16, there are some advantages, especially with urethane. The purple hammer, the black hammer, they get double the differential, so you get more performance at 16 pounds, and you do it 15. One last question: what's in your bag? Ooh, great question. Because I was just doing this for a tournament. I'm going for to a tournament this week, and I was just putting my bag together. So currently, I have my purple hammer, my short pin zigzag, a track cipher solid. Those are my fresh balls. I have my mantra and my pure envy. I have my troublemaker pearl and my one reverb. My tundra fire for the burn. And I have two spies, one at 360 and one at 500 plus polish. Now that is going to be changing in the next 2 weeks because I have a couple of things that we have recently reviewed that'll be coming out that are spine-tinglingly, game-changingly spectacular, that are going to be going directly into my bag. And when they do, you're going to be finding out about it, because there is some pretty good stuff coming. Let me tell you. There's some good stuff coming. Would KT tape work better than wrist brace? It depends on why you're using it. It's something that I'd have to see work with you directly on. If it's a strength issue or an injury issue, that's something we'd have to work on together. I don't see myself switching to two-handed since I'd cut my rev rate in half. Yeah, I've seen that. I've bowled with people who tried two-handed and the rev rate went down. So yeah, I can understand that. I'm 47, went two-handed 3 years ago, and I'm around 217. Nice bowling, Christopher Wilson. Well done, sir. If I could get over some of my injuries, and this new change in my swing works, I'm hoping to get back up into the 2 to 220 again. There's something very humbling from going from averaging 230 and winning tournaments to averaging 170 and struggling to make spares. It's a very humbling experience. But as a coach, it also opened my eyes, reminded me of what athletes go through, the kind of fry they go through during tournaments, made me a little bit more observant, a little bit more sympathetic to my bowlers around me. Wrist brace increases my ball speed. Check out $200 rev turn. Yep, I've seen those before. I got a tournament too Sunday. I throw GB5. Nice. Purple Hammer doesn't agree with me at all. Can't get it to hook. Interesting thing. When I was bowling one-handed, I hated the Purple Hammer. Probably one of less than 100 people on the planet who did not like the Purple Hammer because I have low tilt, or I had low tilt, high rev rate, medium ball speed. The ball basically read at my feet and just looked like poop all the time. And everyone they'd pick up my ball and throw it, and it would look amazing for everybody else. But for me, it looked terrible. So I feel you on that. And let me tell you, there's some stuff coming. There's some stuff coming you're gonna like. Has to be if you're using it to replace your spy. Didn't say that. I don't know if there's much that could replace my spy. I gotta be honest. There's a reason why I have two of them in my bag. That ball is bonkers. The fact that I can have one at 360 and play it on the fresh as a benchmark ball if I need to, and I've got one at 500 plus polish, and I can go to game 3, game 4 to control the break point, always makes me giggle. That ball is so amazing. Phil is one of those guys. I liken it to a Roddy Piper promo. When you think you've got the answers, he changes the questions. You know, nobody made a plastic ball with a core in it. Not like that. We had the Visiball Black Widow, and we had the Black Widow Spare, but we never had a performance plastic ball before. That damn gold sparkle. gold sparkle that does it, I'm telling you. Because the Spy outhooks regular plastic balls by about 3 to 4 boards. And I'm not kidding. If you've ever watched me throw a Spy, it looks like I'm throwing most other people's benchmark ball. It just hooks more. And Phil is really good at that. He looks at the market and looks to see where there are holes in the marketplace and goes, I'm going to build a ball to fill that because there's somebody who needs that. When he built the Spy, he was looking at guys like me who have 0 ball speed and all hand and need something to control the lane. I bought tons of them. The Spy is a very, very, very good ball. Let's see here. I realize at some of my Special Olympics tournaments, people I bowl with throw plastic, and I found out plastic pushes the oil. Yeah, it does push the oil around a little bit. It does, yes. As a fellow one-handed convert, I can't wait to see what you're talking about. So we get balls a few months in advance, so we get to shoot stuff a little bit of out of order because they don't tell us when it's coming out. They'll just send us like, here's 10 balls and review them all, and then they'll tell us, all right, this one's coming at this time, this one's coming at this time. And I can tell you that the stuff that they told us that they're going to talk about, the stuff that they are going to be talking about in the next few weeks, is mind-blowing. That's all I can say. I don't want to break any confidences. I don't want to mess up any NDAs. Like, the stuff that all the companies are coming out with over the next few weeks are just mind-blowing. So good. Radical is legit. 100%. It's the technical brand. You know, they spend more time than just designing a core. They look at the core, what happens to it after drilling. They look at the cover stocks and how they are going to react, you know, not just out of the box, but with different surfaces. It's huge. It's huge. Radical's huge. Purple Hammer gets a little soggy. Yeah. I didn't like the Black Widow urethane at first. I think the asymmetry probably allowed you to play with where it was picking up on the lane. So rather than just like dropping tilt and using all its energy in the front of the lane, it probably retained a little bit more. It's probably the Black Widow would be a little better. I might throw a Snapshot if they have a demo day. Yeah, Snapshot's good. Those super symmetrical balls that Radical's coming out with, those are really cool. Really cool. It's a hole filler. Symmetrical balls you can't affect the rate at which that they lose tilt. You can't really affect the drill angle, so that they're all pretty much like a 90-degree drill angle. But they have the longer hook phase, which is better for getting the ball through the pins. Asims, you get to control those things, but then they roll forward more. These super symmetricals are that in between that allow you to get that shorter hook phase, but still get the ball through the pins. Another one I would recommend is the No Doubt. It hooks actually a lot. I don't know if people really tried it a lot. No Doubt's got some performance in it, especially if you knock the shine off a little bit. Just a used 4000 pad, ball picks up. It's funny about the old 1992 Blue Phantom. Yep, I've got a black Phantom down in the basement. Scoops has the gray and the blue one. They're great balls, but they also, some of them had like an 80 differential in them. There's a reason why they banned making them like that anymore. Tell us the truth. It's a snack attack, isn't it? God, I wish it was a snack attack. And just to get a like an outline of the Phil cartoon with a burger in his hand eating on it, I would pay real money for that. 100%. Last 2 weeks in league, I've been using Columbia Reaction Arc. Any thoughts on that ball? If you like that ball, definitely check out the new the Ricochet that just came out. It's going to be similar, just a lot more motion. How does the Spy compare to the Tropical Surge? Night and day. The Spy has the core that was in the Incognito, which is a fairly strong core, and it has a really, really high load of those gold sparkles. Let me see here. Let me load it up here. Radical Spy. Okay, you can. I don't know if you can really see how sparkly that is. Let me see if I can. Okay, you see all the sparkle on there? That high load of sparkle. Yeah, all of that works as um, grip on the lane, and it hooks different than other plastic balls. Like I would think, I would say that for a high rev player, the Spy is going to be longer than the Tropical Surge, but the same total hook. That's what I mean by like different balls. Any advice for someone switching from one-handed to two-handed? Yes. Um, so the best advice I can give is start from zero-step drills. I know it sounds weird because a lot of people just pick the ball up and start throwing it. Work on from zero-step drill, getting the ball back and through, and then one-step drill to find your timing point for where you're supposed to explode forward, and then three-step, and then go to 4 or 5, whichever you're more comfortable with. Because the upper body and the lower body timing are different than a one-handed bowler, by doing the little drills, and I know they're boring. Nobody likes to do the drills. But by doing them, you're going to retrain your brain to look for certain points of timing while you're bowling, and it's going to make it easier for you to find your your leverage point when you're going to bowl. Two-handed bowling is unusual compared to one-handed bowling because one-handed bowling you push the ball away and it's just your shoulder hinge to allow the ball to swing to let go. Two-handed bowling you are restricted by your range of motion forward, backward, and side to side. Because you think not only are you pushing it this way, but because your arm swing is so short coming back this way, you're creating tilt this way. You're also creating spine tilt side to side. So your swing is dependent on your personal body's um, abilities to create certain positions. So by going little by little, like honestly, zero step, one step, three step, you're going to retrain your body to realign those important timing points and make it a way easier for you to get to become a two-handed bowler better faster. My first 6 to 8 months of two-handed bowling, I just drilled the balls, got out there, used my coaching brain to try to get myself in the right place. It wasn't until I started slowing down and doing the zero step, one step, three step, and then five, like to a 5-step approach, that I was able to make the necessary changes to my swing to start scoring better. And to being more efficient. Like a lot of the reason that I don't have ball speed is because that I have been terribly inefficient with the use of my muscle and the use of my timing, which is why another reason why we're doing these videos, or we're proposing these videos on helping people out, because it's the stuff that we've learned from other coaches from around the world. I have been lucky enough to work with coaches from Sweden, from the Netherlands, from the US, from Australia, from Canada, literally blending different methodologies from around the world. So being able to share that with you guys not only helps you guys, but it helps me become a better bowler and a better coach. Because I'm, as I said, learning things that as a one-handed bowler I probably didn't know before. Trouble sometimes, ball the pocket. That goes a little too long for me sometimes. Well, if the GB5 is a little too long for you, maybe you should look at an asymmetric ball. Because I think you said you had a GB5 and a spare ball. Might be time to look at an asymmetrical ball so that you can have something that you can that's going to have a little bit of a different motion. A lot of people don't realize that if you're throwing a ball and it's in the pocket but you're not carrying, there are a few different things that you can look at to see what's going on. Like if you're throwing a solid ball and you're leaving a lot of 10 pins, it might be time to go to a shinier ball. Or if you're getting the ball to the pocket and it's not rolling through the pocket properly, it might be time to go to a ball that literally rolls forward or is more continuous. So it just might be something as simple as that. Is it worth picking up the Outer Limits Pearl if I want a ball to swing the lane? I just saw it was on sale on Booth's site. If it's on sale, I liked it. It was a good ball. Depending on what the price is, especially if you like the motion that you're getting out of your Outer Limits Solid, getting the Pearl, you're going to get. It's going to be at least similar, similar core. Well, it's the same core shape, so you're going to be able to read it in a similar way. It's just going to be cleaner and a little bit more reactive off the spot. That was a terrible way of explaining it. I'm sorry. If you get the Outer Limits Pearl, it's going to be like your Solid. It's just going to be cleaner and a little more off the spot down the lane. We've been on a long time. It might be time to wrap it up. I like the rack attack, but it's difficult to find a new rack attack or sneak attack. I agree. I've been looking for one of the solids, either the counterattack or a sneak attack, and I haven't been able to find one anywhere, which sucks because I want a bridge ball that goes between my like my Troublemaker Pearl and my Tundra Fire, or my Tundra Fire and my Spies. There's big gaps there. So you never know. What should I expect throwing an asymmetrical Pearl ball? It's going to be a little bit more hockey stick shaped. It's going to go down, and it's not going to be so gradual. It's going to go down, snap. I'm drilling the breakaway as my first two-handed ball. Good choice, Wes. It's very similar to the bonus and the Rattler and the Intel ball that we absolutely adore here at Laneside Reviews. So I think that's a great choice. So I think we've gone through all the questions. You guys have been fantastic, sticking with me for so long tonight. Holy moly, we've been on for like an hour and 44 minutes. I think that is a great place for us to call it. I think we should do this again next week. What do you guys say? Maybe same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be back here 7 p.m. next Tuesday. We can talk about whatever is being talked about. Who knows? It could be new releases. It could be about the PBA Tour from the weekend. It could be about some ridiculous score that somebody's put up. But until then, guys, remember, good luck and good bowling. Keep it on the lanes. Knock down some pins. Have a good night. We'll see you laneside.